If you were a loser and chosen by an unknown, all-powerful program that saved you from the brink of death, what would you do? You'll be forced to battle terrifying monsters from other dimensions while an unknown program helps you turn into a certified badass. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Dimension Dungeons in solo leveling. This kid is going to watch all of his teammates die in countless horrifying ways. In a world where elite humans must battle monsters from other dimensions, they are put through a ranking system to determine their strength. This kid named Song is known as the weakest hunter of all time with a ranking of E. Desperate for money to help his family and sick mother, he prepares to go on another low-ranking mission, meeting up with a friend named Joey, who's supposed to be a skilled healer, but is really only skilled at being useless, as we'll soon find out. Linking up with other familiar faces, including this guy who has a pregnant wife. He tells Song's teammates that he's excited to collect treasure on his mission to bring home, not realizing that he's actually on a mission to get milk, because he'll never see his wife again. 10 years ago, a mysterious portal to another world popped up out of nowhere. All sorts of horrifying monsters came out, and only people with awakened special abilities or magic could defeat them. Heading through the portal, Song's group eventually encounters more routine monsters with predictable strength levels, but they easily plow through them, while Song continues to suck balls, doing even worse than Joey. After the main battle, all the main heroes collect the treasures found in the cave since they handled the monsters, while Song gets nothing extra since he's too weak to do anything. Since he's too weak to actually fight, and also goes to collect his pathetic little E-rank gem. He starts to wonder if putting his life on the line is really worth the cheap pay. Defeating the dungeon boss, the group then gets ready to go back home, but then someone discovers a hidden tunnel. But it doesn't make sense since they've already defeated the boss. The team's captain, named Song, thinks this is uncharted territory and strongly suggests they report this back to the Hunters Association. A bunch of greedy bastards, some wanting to go exploring, force the team to a vote, but they result in a tie, with Song being the deciding vote. Desperate for money to provide for his family, he votes to go, and the group heads on in. Inside, they note they've been walking for 40 minutes, and the gate back to their world will close an hour after the boss is defeated. Joey is now pissed at Song for wanting to come down here, but she says he can treat her to a meal next time, which causes him to freak his virgin butt out. Reaching this sinister door, they suspect this must be the actual boss's room. They know that it's rare to find doors this big in portals, and something now doesn't feel right. Desperate for more treasure, the group goes on through, but discover an empty room full of creepy tall statues. The group notices an ancient tablet with some commandments on it about worshipping some type of god, but Joey doesn't give a flying F because she tells Song that the eyes of this statue have just moved. However, Song doesn't believe her and thinks she's just a little bit cuckoo and shouldn't be ashamed of her problem. A loud crash is then heard on the far end of the room, and they discover the entrance they walked through is now closed, and now they're officially trapped. Everyone starts to freak out, and this one guy's had enough and tries to go and open the door. But that's when this statue here brutally slices him in half, horrifying everyone to the bone. They realize this isn't a D-ranked dungeon. Song spots the statue's eyes finally look at him, and he instantly realizes the dangers of what's about to happen and tries to warn the others, but it's too late. The statue emits a horrifying blast through its eyes, killing instantly half of their team. Captain Song tells everyone that the statue can see them since they're moving, and orders everyone to stay still while he tries to get them out of this mess. Now, technically the worst captain ever, Song thinks he's also the most badass since one of his arms has been blown clean off, but he's still just chilling. This one hunter with super speed thinks he can outrun a god and gets put in his place in the most ironic way possible. Song then remembers the commandments on the wall about worshipping a god and suddenly gets up, attracting the eyes of the statue as it prepares to blast him. But instead of running, he kneels down right at it, which causes its eyes to turn off. Following his lead, everyone else also copies Song, but this triggers the statue to get up from its throne and starts walking towards them. Song thinks some more and says that the second commandment was about praising God. This one guy steps up to try and praise it, but his religion game is trash and he gets stepped on. Now everyone starts running and dying, while the guy with the pregnant wife officially turns into an absentee father, getting sliced in half like Spam. Song tries to focus up and look for clues, spotting the weapons and musical instruments each of the various statues are holding. Having another realization, he tells everyone to get under the statues holding the musical instruments. The teammates listen, reaching them one by one as they start playing music. Song and Joey reach the statue, but nothing happens. In order to protect Joey, he tries to run to another statue nearby, but almost gets stepped, and not in a good way, losing one of his legs. With all survivors now protected, the god statue sits back down on his throne. Song remembers there's still one commandment left stating they must believe in God, and think they now have to sacrifice someone in order for the god to let them leave. Captain Song offers to sacrifice himself since he led them down here. Song then leads everyone into the circle as the lamps around them begin to light up, and the front door opens. Desperate to leave, this one traitor girl runs out immediately, but Song thinks it's still a trap to test their fate. The other statue statues start walking towards them. Song has an aha moment and tells everyone the statues won't move if they stare directly at them, but one woman chokes and makes a break for the door. Her flame goes out, and this causes everyone else to get confused. Song tries to analyze the situation further, noticing that the blue flame has been counting down like a timer, and once it goes out, they will be safe, but another scaredy cat makes a break for it, and Whiskerbeard here starts getting tempted to leave too. Song warns him if another person leaves, they won't have enough eyes to stop all the statues from moving. But Whiskerbeard has a family and flips him the peace sign, heading out. The rest of the statues start closing in. Now unable to stop them, Captain Song says Song should leave with the useless Joey, but discovers her leg now can't move due to her exhaustion, and someone has to carry her out. Still injured, Song tells the captain to escape with Joey while he stays behind. Joey refuses to leave him, but the captain pimp slaps her unconscious, escaping with her. Song tries his best to defend himself, but quickly starts getting chopped to little pieces. On his deathbed, the blue flame timer goes out just before he meets his doom and his eyes black out. Okay, well, it seems like everyone was screwed. There's something ruthless that we could have done to beat this situation. There were clear signs that everything was suspicious. This new tunnel discovered. This means that whatever was in there wasn't mapped. It wasn't ranked yet, which means no one knew nothing about these monsters down there. And Captain Song, as a leader of this group, really just led them straight into a shit show and made every mistake in the freaking book. For starters, he should have vetted the hunters, or if he couldn't do that, he could have at least only recruited hunters that had little to no outside world attachments or prioritized those types of people during the hunt. The deadbeat dad with the pregnant wife, for example. Based on this fact alone, we could have assumed that he was always going to put his family's needs over the missions, which made him a huge liability. The way this group headed into the cave also tells me that this bad shit was bound to happen based on how comfortable they were. Even if they weren't facing dangers this bad, getting too comfortable scientifically reduces your level of alertness and can cause you to repeat familiar tasks, routines, and thinking patterns. This is evident when the group didn't stop to think twice if heading down to an unmapped demon tunnel was a good idea or not. Going into an uncharted territory means Captain Song should have also prepared better safety measures in advance, like by having one person standing watch outside of the main door. It would have allowed them to know instantly if something wrong had happened, and this person also would have been able to go and get some help, because not having any sort of safety line going into the unknown is crazy. If I was Sung right before the very end, since we're basically taking over the captain's duties, I would have leaned in more heavily into the leadership role, especially when we're in the final phase of the god worshipping area. It's clear the whole team needed to work together for this bit, which means as the leader, finding some way to wrangle up the team was the simplest move we could do. So here's what I would have done. I would have walked over to one of the weakest members and stabbed them in the abdomen or pelvic area, the non-lethal area with only 2.7% mortality rate, for the simple reason that in order to make our teammates not wimp out, we need to find a way to make them fear us more than the circumstances at hand, in order to make them compliant and listen to me. Stabbing them in a non-fatal area means we could have made a direct statement about who the boss was and what could happen if they didn't listen to us. We are their savior. We are their best shot. Scaring our teammates into submission is possibly the best move. Stabbing in the stomach would have also allowed that person to continue doing their part and stare at the statues. Everyone would have followed along like good little minions until the countdown timer finished, and they all could have gone out alive. Song suddenly wakes up at the hospital with no memory of how he got there. These men from the Hunter Association surveillance team show up and tell him he's been out for 3 days and they found him at the entrance of the tunnel when the rescue party was sent. They notify him that Captain Song and Joey are safe, and they wonder if Song has had a second reawakening. On rare occasions, some hunters will experience a rebirth where their powers will upgrade for a second time. They test him out and see if his hunter ranking has gotten higher with this device, but he gets no score. Assuming he got unbelievably lucky and just as weak as ever, they leave him. But Song wonders why they didn't ask him about this screen that he now sees in front of him, not realizing that he's now been chosen and is about to become the ultimate badass. He suddenly remembers that just before he died, a strange message appeared in front of him, asking if he wanted to be saved. Still confused, he notices he has unread messages. Figuring out how to open it, he discovers he now has control over a system designed to assist the development of the player. He will receive rewards for completing quests, but will also get punished if he fails to complete them. His first daily strength training quest has just been delivered. Thinking he's just tripping balls, he ignores the quest. However, that night while sleeping, a huge earthquake happens, waking up Song, but he instantly teleports into an empty desert, thinking this is just a dream, this is just a dream. But that's when a huge monster shows up behind him. His system tells him he must now survive for 3 hours, forcing him to start running for his life. Running the timer out, he just barely survives his first penalty and gets instantly teleported back onto his hospital bed. The system tells him he's passed the penalty and has received a reward, but he passes out from the sheer exhaustion. Some more days pass as he starts to figure out how his system works and begins completing the rewards, realizing that each time he passes his daily quest, he gets 3 reward points, plus 1 daily request box that gives him random prizes, and he could use the points he earns to fill up any of his stats that will now make him stronger. Opening up today's daily quest, unlike Before, this time he receives a key, a message saying this key opens a dungeon of some kind. Suiting up, he heads outside and takes the key, activating a mysterious portal. Wanting answers, he heads through and takes out the key, but discovers that he's now in a different dimension that he's never been in, now can't escape. Suddenly some goblins start attacking him, but something strange happens. He discovers that he's now able to overpower them with enough effort. Unlike before, a red wolf then shows up next to attack him and manages to break his crappy blade, leaving him unarmed and in trouble. But Song realizes that he is now much more agile than before. He tries to use it to his advantage, but nothing works. Gaining distance, he quickly pulls his system's inventory and takes out a sword, managing to slice the wolf in half at the last minute. He realizes he doesn't know how that sword got there, but doesn't have much time to think since more wolves show up. However, he spams the attack button accordingly, defeating the rest. After, he notices that he's leveled up a ton and figures out leveling up through combat is quicker, and this is the fastest way he can become stronger. He receives an item from the wolf corpse. Discovering an online shop within the system, he sells the item he just got for 20 gold coins. Oh, nice! Still trapped, he knows he must find and defeat the boss in order to escape. More wolves show up to greet him, but this time he's more than ready and easily slices and dices every single one, leveling up with each kill and earning the title of Wolf Assassin. Collecting a ton of goodies and a teleportation stone, he starts going through the rest of the dungeon, coming across this staircase. Sensing trouble below, he heads down to meet the boss. Something strikes him with super speed, breaking his sword as he gets knocked down straight into the water. He's up against the blue venom boss. With his sword now broken, he doesn't give an F and uses it anyways to stab the snake, climbing up its body, before choking it like a mofo on the ground, squeezing the life out of it until he defeats it, leveling up and being awarded with a sexier dagger. With this level complete, he goes back to his old dimension. Walking out of the train station, a soldier stops him and can tell he's a hunter, saying that another portal has opened up in the city and they need all the hunters they can get. Nearby, these other hunters are busy dealing with the portal threat, while Song finally reaches but chills out within the crowd to assess the situation first. He then notices Joey doing what she does best, choking it like it was her job. Gosh, she's useless. Suddenly a sword flies past these hunters straight into the monster, killing it instantly. This man asks who threw the sword at such terrifying speed, but doesn't see anyone in sight, since Song leaves before he can be identified. The next day he finally gets discharged from the hospital, like that even matters, and heads home. His sis notices he's gotten jacked, and he realizes that he needs to make some more money as soon as possible, considering getting reevaluated as an awakened hunter. But he worries that it might draw too much attention since he still doesn't know what's going on with his body. He then receives a text from the Hunter Association that they have another low-level quest for him. Heading off to participate, he meets the crew for this next quest, and their leader is Hwang Dong-suk. He tells Song that he can join so they can make up the numbers to enter this C-rank dungeon, but since he's a low-rank hunter, he will not be able to share any spoils of treasure they find. They tell them they have no healers on this mission, and Song thinks this is incredibly reckless. He also meets this young, rich kid named Jin Ho, who says this will be his first mission. Entering the portal, they quickly run into these giant insects. Song watches Dong-suk's men quickly take them all out, but starts to think something fishy is going on, since they are clearly a battle-hardened team, and it makes no sense why they would come out without a healer and choose to fill the rest of their team with rookies like them last minute. Entering another area, they discover thousands of mana crystals worth a ton of money and suspect this must be the boss's room. The men start collecting the treasure, while nice guy Jin Ho offers to look over Song's contract and reveals that since mana crystals aren't counted as spoils of treasure, this means that Song is entitled to part of the profits like everyone else. Dong-suk agrees and tells them they will handle it once they defeat the boss, a sleeping spider above them. Once they defeat it, the gate will close, so they must transport all the crystals out before they start a fight with it. Dong-suk asks for his mining tools, but his men tell him they accidentally left it in the back in the car. He tells Song and Jin Ho to wait here while they go get it, but sure enough, lock the entrance door once they all leave, trapping Song and Jin Ho inside. Just as the spider boss begins to wake up, rookie Jin Ho starts pissing his pants, but Song, thank God, steps forward to handle the challenge. Alright, look, we know that Song is already overpowered as heck, but there's a way we could get out of this as Jin Ho and beat Dong-suk. Right now, we are outnumbered and outranked, and the odds are against us, but that actually might be a good thing, because Dong-suk, as the leader, is known as being cocky, selfish, and arrogant. He would never see coming what we're about to do. I would deploy something known as gap double cross move. This is when someone closes the gap between an enemy by pretending to double cross their own team, lowering the guard of the enemy in the process, allowing the double crosser to actually get up close and kill the target. To do this, I would pretend to suddenly bow down to Dong-suk and tell him that I will kill Song to be on his side. However, once with my back against Dong-suk facing Song, I would quickly whisper for him to come charging at Dong-suk. When I give the mark, being far enough away from the enemy means they wouldn't be able to hear what I just told Song. From here, I would try to kill Song, but choke at the last minute and whine that I don't have the balls to do it, lowering Dong-suk's guard even more as he makes fun of me. While Dong-suk has the ability to enhance his physical stat temporarily, there is a time delay before this happens, which means if we catch him off guard before he can do this, we could defeat him. Unable to defeat Song, I would give the mark to him with my face, forcing Song to pretend charge at Dong-suk. This would allow me to try and defend Dong-suk and acting like I've swapped sides. I'm helping him, while Song temporarily pushes up against me, forcing us to move closer to Dong-suk's location before I finally push him back. Now within arm's reach of a confused Dong-suk thanks to Song, and seemingly on his side, Dong-suk's attention would now be primarily on Song. From here, it would be this moment to quickly strike him right in the neck with my blade before Song steps in to help finish the job, letting us win the battle in a much more realistic way without the help of an overpowered main character. Come on, you know, like, let the side characters be their own badasses for once. Song secretly realizes that he's still very weak compared to this spider, so he wastes no time and charges at it, but discovers its hide is too tough and he's quickly getting fatigued. The spider starts spitting acid, forcing him to use his new dash skill, jumping to the wall and landing on its face, stabbing it left and right and center while he starts getting tired. But since he didn't claim a reward for his daily quest earlier, he's able to use it to regain his stamina and get a full recovery. All healed, he charges at it again and stabs the fighter in its face a billion times, quickly killing it and leveling up. After he takes the crystal from the spider, Jin-ho thinks he must be a fake ranker. Someone who hides their true rank level is now scared shitless. He offers to be his assistant for him. Just as Dong-suk and his crew spot them coming back in from the roof, they were gonna wait till the spider killed these two and go back to sleep before stealing the crystals. Shocked to see these two alive, they then think thanks to Jin-ho's expensive equipment, he must have gotten lucky and defeated the spider. He tells Jin-ho that he's looked up his rich family and offers him a chance to get out alive if he kills Sung right now, or else they'll both die. Jin-ho decides to stand by Sung, but Sung gets distracted by a notification saying an urgent quest has arrived. Dong-suk's men take this opportunity and send him flying back. He quickly glances at the notification, telling him that it's detected that he's surrounded by enemies and he must kill them to complete the quest, or else he'll face a penalty. This is the first time the system has asked him to kill humans, but Sung realizes that he and the system need each other to survive, motivating him to get up like a soldier without a soul. This guy approaches him, but Sung's dagger appears out of nowhere as he swiftly cuts off his head with ease, shocking Dong-suk's men that he is so strong. He realizes that he now can't turn back and absolutely goes full savage on everyone's asses in the most brutal of ways, shocking leader Dong-suk. He tries to attack him, but he gets his face slammed in and realizes Sung is a different type of monster. Picking for his life, Sung smiles and chops his head off, completing the quest while Jin-ho grows up. Leaving the dungeon, they lie to the Hunter Association about what really happened, while the system rewards Sung with a murder's intent skill, meaning all enemies when scared will lose 50% of their abilities. The report of Sung's escape reaches two dangerous groups: the Hunters Association surveillance team and Dong-suk's powerful crime boss brother. The surveillance team initially thinks he got lucky, but two of these guys recognize Sung as the guy they interviewed in the hospital some time back. Suspicious he has had a second awakening somehow, they decide to look into him, while Dong-suk's crazy brother swears to make him pay. Later, Sung goes back home to chill with his sis while he wonders how he was able to kill those humans so easily. He remembers his actions for a hot sec, but then remembers he needs to get stronger to get his family, finding out his system is kind of a bug kill, since it detoxifies him each time he has a cheeky drink, so he can't get drunk ever. Thanks to his double dungeon mission reward, which will immediately remove toxic substances and help regenerate faster, Jin-ho eventually contacts Sung and offers him a proposition, revealing this is the reason he didn't rat on him earlier. He wants to become a guild master, but to do this he must complete 20 dangerous missions as a hunter, and the last one was his first. His rich pops wants to establish an employee hunter team so they can profit off of the raiding caves. Cave's 100% self-sufficient system, since hunters usually are freelance and take a much bigger cut. His father has hired Jin-ho's brother as a vice guild master, but Jin-ho wants to compete with his brother and offers Sung a shit ton of money to join his hunter team to help him compete and show his father how capable he really is. Sung is reluctant, but Jin-ho states he can still get paid while keeping his true powers a secret and promises to keep it a secret, but Sung refuses and leaves. The next day he continues his training but receives a new reward that will change his life. This key is a key to a demon's castle. If he completes this quest, he can obtain the ingredients to the elixir of life, which can cure all illnesses with its powerful magic, including his mother, who is sick with an illness that practically no one can cure. Convinced he can save her, he later uses it to enter the portal straight into hell. Carrying this teleportation stone from earlier, he meets his next opponent, known as Hell's Gatekeeper, Cerberus. Okay, while we're up against Satan's lapdog himself, There's a way I would take out this doggo with flying colors. In literature, history, and mythology, demon castles often feature various defensive mechanisms to protect against intruders, which can include physical barriers, traps, and guardians. Knowing that it's a demon castle, it's logical to assume that there would have been monsters related to mythical lores of hell. And since we know what defenses are most common to demon castles based on mythology and lores, we could predict the types of enemies we were up against. While this creature's stats are crazy, as Sung, I would rely on this monster's intelligence and biology to take it down. I would first work on retreating through the buildings around the area with the goal of circling back and surprise attacking Cerberus from a higher vantage point, because this is how we win. It's noted that this creature has 3 sets of horns on its head. If we tried to attack the underside of its belly, it would destroy us. If we tried to ride it, while it wouldn't be able to reach us, it could backflip to crush us. However, this is why I would surprise jump onto Cerberus's back, but would quickly make my way right into the corner of one of those horns and wedge myself right in, inserting my knife deep within its skin to help buckle down. Staying in this corner spot would not only prevent us from getting smacked by Cerberus's fluffy doggo paws, but in between the horns would also guarantee us protection in case it tries to flip over. Now, safe and sound from here, I would calmly figure out our next move, likely by reaching over and stabbing this thing in the eye repeatedly while retreating back to our little horn home in between attacks. Well, yes, it's a bitch move. We're in hell after all, which means fighting dirty without dignity and honor is the name of the game. Sung takes out his sword and charges into the fight, using dash skill, slicing into the monster's legs, but he realizes that it's more powerful than he thought. He quickly changes his tactics to murderous intent and paralysis, while the monster debuffs both of his skills and overpowers Sung, biting off one of his arms. He instantly loses half of his health. Oh shit! Using full recovery, he stabs its eye, but that was his biggest mistake. The monster only gets more angry and comes at him from all directions, beating the shit out of him. More warnings from his system pop up, telling him that he's in a lot of trouble. He considers using the teleportation stone, but gets hit again and is now about to die. Hiding in the rubble, he remembers he got a vial of venom in his inventory box from fighting the snake, which will make his skin harden, but his muscles will be permanently damaged. No choice, he drinks it just as the monster discovers him and chews down on his half corpse, but that's when the poison takes effect, allowing Sung to attack it while it's in shock, going crazy on it as the two gruesomely tear each other apart. But Sung lands the killing blow, barely survives the fight. After, the system rewards him with many rewards, including this key to a door that the monster was guarding, and then he learns how to craft the elixir of life. The system tells him that he can find all the ingredients deeper inside the demon's castle, but Sung knows he's not strong enough yet to go inside, so he decides to train more first. Needing more points to level up, he finally accepts Jinho's offer to join his hunter team, but under the condition only him and Jinho enter the actual dungeons so he can use his full powers secret. Jinho agrees and looks for other recruits just to fill in the spots, you know? However, he gets later notified by the Hunters Association for a last-minute mission. Desperate to level up, he accepts the offer and heads straight there, running into his old captain of one of his earlier missions, Song, who is now reawakened as a mage. They both head to meet up and see others from his old team, like the useless Johi, just as some prisoners show up, and this man from the Surveillance Association, the same man that met Sung in the hospital, Kang. But Sung realizes that he doesn't remember him. Kang announces these prisoners will join them on the hunt to reduce their sentence. Sensing something isn't right, he tells Johi that she shouldn't go, but she says nah. Song takes on the role of captain once again to make up for the last time, as everyone heads in and quickly encounter waves of dangerous monsters. Reaching a fork in the road, Kang suggests splitting up to finish the mission faster. Sensing that the left path contains the monster, Sung suggests him and Song will take the left road as everyone splits up. However, now all alone with the prisoners, Kang secretly murders them in cold blood, but in the confusing cave, some other members accidentally run into him, forcing him to brutally slaughter them too. Hearing screams nearby, Sung's team rushes over to check it out, sees all the dead bodies, including his innocent teammates. Just as Kang tries to surprise attack Johi, but is stopped by Sung. Kang reveals that even though he is a B-rank hunter, he joined the Hunter Association just so he could go on more missions to kill as many people as possible because he likes it. He plans to kill everyone here and report back that they died by goblins. Wanting justice for his teammates, Captain Song steps up to defeat him and orders Johi to cast a physical enhancement spell on him, making him temporarily more badass, but he's still shit, and Kang lets him know it quick. Johi tries to help, but she's still useless as ever, and nearly gets killed by Kang, forcing Sung to save her and reveal his true powers in front of everyone. The two duel and discover that they're similar of strength, but due to Kang's experience, he starts becoming more ruthless, and this activates Sung's system that has now detected Kang as an official threat and orders Sung to kill him or else. Sung gets even faster and faster and faster with his attacks and hits him with his dagger's special poison effect, forcing Kang to use his special skill, not known by many. However, Sung senses Kang's murderous intent and uses that to pinpoint his location before fully losing himself and beating him for good. After Kang warns Sung that he can tell his shadow is connected to something dark, and if he isn't careful, he might lose himself to it, and he finally kicks the bucket, being awarded a stealth rune from the system. Sung realizes that as he gets stronger, parts of his old self are disappearing. The others thank him for saving them, and he orders them to leave while he finishes this mission. A little later, everyone returns to the surface, explaining what what Kang did, as another member from the surveillance team shows up, and the one that Sung recognizes, Woo Jin-koo. Song covers for Sung and claims that he killed Kang with the help of Jo-hee. Woo thinks it's suspicious but accepts it, while Sung realizes Woo outmatches him as an A-rank hunter. However, Woo later tells him that he knows something is going on with him, but instead of asking questions, he warns him that he should be more careful if he wants to survive, revealing that the man he worked with before, Dong-suk, his S-ranked brother, is coming for him and is so powerful that the law can't stop him. He tells Sung to leave the country if he wants to live, and later Jo-hee gives Sung the stone because she's planning to retire, it's whatever. A few days later, Sung meets back up with Jin-ho and his new A1 partner team, drunks and a bunch of injured people basically, but he also notices this one E-rank hunter girl who is actually his sister's classmate. The two don't recognize each other, and Sung announces that for all missions, him and Jin-ho will be the ones entering the dungeons alone. And these guys, you just gotta sit your butt outside and wait. But in order to get paid, they must keep all of this a secret. Sung learns the stealth stone from Kang, and him and Jin-ho head on in, returning an hour later collecting experience points for Sung and cave loot for Jin-ho. They start to around town, rinsing and repeating their dynamic duo formula at different dungeons. Sung quickly levels up fast, unlocking a dash skill level and advanced dagger wielding fatal strike, and he is just now in such a short time, just below an A rank level. But then he gets notified from the system that since he has reached the required level, a job change request can now be ordered. He meets back up with Jin-ho the next day to continue their jobs. While inside the dungeon, members from the famous Tiger Hunter Guild show up to the portal outside. They've heard rumors that someone has been bidding crazy money to take on C-rank dungeons with no top hunters, and it's suspicious. Looking around, they suspect someone here has a second awakening, but Sung's teammates tell them that this area is off limits since they're in the middle of a hunt. This guy realizes since the leader went in without backup, he must be even stronger than they thought. That night, after another mission, they approach Sung, and this guy says he's the chief of the White Tiger Guild named An, and wants to offer him a job, but Sung tells him Jin-ho offered him a whole building with a market value of 30 billion. An sits there shocked and says he would need to talk to his superiors about paying that much money, but Sung ends the conversation before that happens. About to leave, he asks if he was investigating him and shows off his new stealth skill on Han, getting him to confess how they found him, thanks to Jin-ho buying up all the dungeons. An says their guild also needs some dungeons to train the new recruits in, so Sung makes a deal to sell them some of their extra ones, and both agree to keep his status a secret. Later, Sung heads to a more secluded spot to take on the quest he received during his fight with Kang, entering this horrifying dimension. However, he realizes this mission is different. He can't use any potions to recover, and he spots someone approaching him. Seeing this knight taking out his sword, Sung knows what's about to happen and attacks at first with his dagger, but finds out he did nothing and gets flung back. He notices his blade can't even pierce its armor. Switching tactics, he tries to split it apart at close range, but more approach him as he tries to rinse and repeat his moves. He grinds out this area and eventually reaches the final arena, meeting his worst opponent yet, known as the Knight Commander Igris, the Blood Red, who quickly charges at him, making Sung realize his terrifying power. He tries to use every skill in the book, but the knight counters each one. Sung figures out that in order to win, he must try to defeat him unarmed to cause internal damage through his armor. Okay, this knight is overpowered as hell, but I'll be able to take him out by using his own rules against him. Sung here should have spent a little more time trying to predict what monsters he was gonna fight in here. Yes, this knight here might be powerful as hell, but ultimately we can tell from his armor that duh, he's a knight, which means he's likely to follow certain codes, like the code of chivalry, which was a way of living that knights were meant to behave and live by during the Middle Ages. Basically be polite in fair as hell and even in battle. But since he's overpowered, if I was Sung, I would beat the knight by using his own codes of chivalry against him. The moment we saw him give us his sword to fight fair, this is when I would have dropped to the floor and pretended to act all weak and feeble. You know, Oscar-worthy level of acting, and lure him in closer. Once he got close enough, I would have either tried to plainly stab him at close range, or would have leveraged our system's mechanics against the knight. It's noted to take out a weapon. The system menu pops up a screen where we can take out a sword. It's a menu only we can interact with. This is why the moment the knight approaches us while we were down, I would stab him while opening up the system menu behind him. It would allow us to put the sword back into storage. However, the sword would be unable to go back in all the way since part of it would be straight through the knight's throat, and the knight wouldn't be able to take the sword out since he wouldn't be able to make contact with the menu, and wouldn't be able to escape from the other side thanks to the sword hilt. This would essentially trap him where he stands, and from here he would be a sitting duck that we could then easily kill without any worry, rush, or fear. Now without a sword, the knight offers Sung 2 daggers out of chivalry and charges at him, this time not letting him breathe for even a second, delivering blow after devastating blow. Unable to match his strength, Sung tries to outmatch his speed and finally delivers one kick to his face. That's his biggest mistake. The knight suddenly goes full berserk and comes at him with everything he's got, completely decimating Sung left and right and center, finally throwing up across the room, landing on the throne. Calling upon his sword, he prepares the final death blow, just as Sung tricks him and grabs his sword before stabbing him in the face. The knight tries to pull out the sword, but it disappears and goes back into Sung's inventory. Haha, what did I tell you? Allowing him to spam stab the shit out of him, eventually piercing through his brain, killing him, and the system rewards him with 4 rewards and 1.5 million, oh my gosh, in gold, and some sweet gear and this stone ruler's hand. The teleportation stone appears, making him realize the quest isn't over, just as more trouble shows up to greet him. The system alerts that he must now stay alive for as long as possible for more points. Think of it like a bonus round. An infinite number of low-ranking knights show up, but quickly overwhelm Sung as he quickly gets picked on one by one. He considers using the teleportation stone, but a knight knocks it out of his hand. Now unable to escape, he must defeat them all or die. He musters up the last amount of his remaining strength and remembers everyone who ever doubted him and uses all of this to fuel his powers. But part of him still doubts himself, and this causes him to get pummeled even more. And about to get defeated, he gets a notification that the quest is over, allowing him to get transported to the penalty zone. There, he gets a fatigue reducer potion, with more horrifying centipedes showing up for him to fight, allowing him to level up just a little more before going back in, this time with some last-minute equipment upgrades and the rune stone from the knight he defeated. Crushing it, he gains access to its powers, the ruler's hand, allowing him to move objects without touching them, and he heads back in more ready than before. He continues to attack more and more waves until he notices an important clue. The mages in the back are actually behind all the waves of incoming enemies, so he starts targeting them instead. On the defensive, they summon this giant golem, forcing Sung to cling to the roof chandelier and attack from above like a G. It's so cool. Killing it and the mages, stopping more enemies from entering, and he soon wins the quest. But this time he gets a new job title as a necromancer, confusing him since he is an assassin type of hunter. All of his abilities gained have been for this specific fight style, and he worries that if he switches classes, they will now be useless. This prompts him to reject the necromancer title, but final message pops up telling him it is a hitting class, giving him one more challenge to accept it. Considering this new class might have exciting abilities, he decides to take it. This then transforms him into a whole different kind of beast. His job title suddenly changes again into something known as a Shadow Monarch. Ooh. This causes all the fallen knights around him to start calling out to him, making him realize that he can now control all of their souls. Wondering if he could do the same to the Red Knight he encountered from earlier. He encounters some resistance initially, but eventually manages to get this insane warrior on his side, becoming a new type of god among men basically, and is now ready to figure out his new powers, where it came from, and become the strongest hunter ever. And even totally gets rid of the sad, scared little boy inside of him once and for all in the process. Totally. But what do you guys think about the video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a thumbs up down below. And as always, don't forget to check out our How to Beat playlist.